Hey there YouTube, welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, it's fall, and the maple tree's dropping leaves like crazy. And it's kind of one of those things where what I want to do is essentially try and blow as many of the leaves out of landscaping area as I can before it kind of rains. And then mow over them, that way it gets mulched and kind of acts like a, extra fertilizer kind of stuff for the lawn. And it's one of those things where for me, I like to try and do it early on. That way I catch as much of it as possible, because otherwise once it starts to get down and colder, if it rains at all, it'll freeze in place and be harder to deal with, and then you're dealing with it in the springtime more than in the fall. So for now, all I'm doing is just taking the leaf blower, clearing myself some spots. So I was able to blow out this area here. Really, I need to come in here, remove all the dead fallen limbs that I've kind of just stacked here lately, and blew a quick path around here. You can see quite a lot of leaves are down here. Now, this tree here, in the springtime, the leaves came really, really late. So I was worried it was going to be dead, but it looks like just like how it came in late, it's also going to drop these later too. So I'll be doing the same thing for this tree, and just trying to blow everything out of anywhere where I don't want it. So especially these lower areas down here. I know this gets a little weird and funky, especially with like the bushes and stuff down here. So I'm not 100% sure what kind of tree this is. I don't know if someone said lilac at one point in time or something, but this one's about going dormant. So it's going to be dropping its leaves here shortly too. But I just want to make sure everything's nice and cleared out, because we had an issue a few years back where a lot of this was kind of rotting out down below. And I think a lot of it was due to the nasty leaves that were down there. So I'm just going to try and blow out as much of this as I can and get it out in the lawn. And then I'll come through with my riding lawnmower and blow it and mow it. That way it kind of blows everything more towards the center. So I'm sure some of it will get mulched and chopped up. Some of it's just going to get blown away. And the more I can get, out into the yard will hopefully mean the more, like, this might act as almost like a quarter feeding of fertilizer. And then really, with all the maple leaves and stuff, I could probably box them up or bag them up and then set them up that way they turn into like a nice compost mulch stuff. But the black walnut tree throws a curveball in the whole mix, because the black walnut tree has some chemicals that it produces that can be in the leaves. It's definitely in the black walnuts when they drop and in the holes that hit the ground. And that can actually cause issues where you can't grow things. There's a definite distance that you want to be away from any black walnut trees if you're growing like tomatoes or peppers and some other plants. Some plants, they don't get bothered at all by the black walnut chemicals. But it's just one of those things to keep in mind, because even way out here, we've got the black walnut tree leaves. So these pretty much go all over the yard and even past this landscaping area. So it's something to kind of keep in mind that, hey, if you're going to compost it, there might be some stuff in there that's going to fight whatever it is you're trying to grow with the compost. So like these green holes that would be on the black walnut around it, they decompose, they go black or brown and stuff. And then sometimes you'll find the nuts. Most of the times the squirrels have found them and hit them somewhere. I'm trying to see if we have any shells around. They're kind of funny too, because sometimes they leave the shells at the base of the tree. So like that. And these are incredibly hard. So the black walnuts are even tougher than like a standard walnut. And then it's bad enough that the black walnut tree seems to just like choose various limbs and branches to drop off and kill. by itself, and some of them are big. Like that one's a no joke big one. That one lands on you in a bad day. Same thing with this one. That one's huge. So it's kind of one of those things you just want to be careful. And if you're going to leave these around the lawn and mulch these in and stuff, you want to make sure that it's kind of safe in the area you're mulching it, and you're not planning on growing anything in that area, because there's going to be a lot of that black walnut chemical around. So if you're going to plant something like a bush or a garden or something like that might be sensitive close to it, then what I would do is either do a raised garden, or every year kind of go through and vacuum up the leaves. That way you're not adding even more of the black walnut compounds into the soils. You're actually like picking some of it up. Then all you have to worry about is decomposing bark and the actual black walnut shells and stuff like that getting tossed around. And it's pretty crazy because the squirrels will transport things all over the place. So there's a black walnut kind of tucked up in here. This is the kind of the edge of the property. So the black walnut tree's way back there. And granted, I don't know if that's just squirrels or if birds do it too, but that's a ways away. All right, so I'm gonna get to finish cleaning this up, but essentially, if you're thinking about doing the same thing, if you're thinking about mulching the leaves into the lawn, that way it's like an extra feeding, gives it a little bit extra like biomatter that'll break down and kind of help the lawn later on, especially come springtime when everything's kind of broken down. Definitely keep an eye out for any kind of things that might be affecting your plants or could affect your plants, like the black walnut tree, and then mulching those leaves. For me, we're looking at raised garden beds, probably over there, that I'll probably have to figure something out, whether I go with like a toted in soil and stuff like that, or, you know, maybe we'll pull some soil from up in here because there's some projects I want to do up here and use that to fill the beds with. But just things to keep in mind. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll check you next time. Oh, those leaves are dropping quick. Still kind of pretty though. Down in just the kind of the orangey looks. So all the red ones are dropped.